guys. Well, today is day and it is early-ish. It's like 9:30, 10, and it's already blazing out today. We are in this is our first like legit heat. Bug went in my eyeball. This is our first legit heat wave. Today is about really just making sure the garden is well taken care of. I'm going to cut off watering here in the next probably 30 minutes. I'm just doing a quick water on a lot of my things. And typically you don't want to water your plants in the heat of the day because sunburn. I'm growing a lot of cold crops because if you're new here or if you've missed it somehow, we are in a zone 3. So we have a colder climate, especially this year. It's been very cold. And we have a frost risk all year round. Speaking of that, we got a frost on Saturday in mid-July, and it was just a kiss of frost. Like it didn't even take my potatoes down. It just got a little bit, not bad at all. So, but anytime it cools down into the low 80s here, especially, I mean, it could do it in the 90s or whatever, but if there's a high of low 80s during the day, I would be expecting frost. So I've been pretty good and not planted a lot of things outside that can't handle a frost, but it comes to bite you in the arse when you have things growing outside that are not heat tolerant. So yeah, I'm not super concerned about my carrots. I'm not super concerned about my cabbages. Have some sprinklers. I have some fava beans. I don't know how they'll do. We'll see. Hopefully they're fine. Oh, there goes a dragonfly. I am really concerned about my peas because they are on a trellis and they're in full sun. So I'm going to kind of show you. I'm going to go over there and show you what I'm doing for the grasshopper. This is interesting. The grasshopper that whacked me in the ear. I'm going to show you what I'm doing for my peas and hopefully it helps. We have cicadas this year, which I did a lot of my growing up years in West Virginia, and that sound is so familiar yet so foreign living in Oregon. And I'm out in the evening and I'm out gardening and I'm like, what is that noise? And it was the cicadas, and it took me by surprise. It's like we were getting invaded by a plague. Okay, sprinkler. It's watering in some seeds. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of the path. All right. So back behind this is my cattle panel trellis for my peas. And because this is south facing, I decided to give this a whirl to see if it would work for shade protection, heat protection. It is white. This is our Agribon frost cover. It is white and it is blocking the sun. I'm gonna take you around the back and show you. I had some old sheets that ripped. Well, not old, they were good sheets and they ripped. And so I used one, but it wasn't that great of protection. But this works great. So you can see the cattle panel and I have it close pinned. I have T-posts, but I put it around the T-posts. So like not on top. This will shred your Agribon. So I have it around. And then here's an open gap where my one sheet gaps. I could get more frost cover, but I thought since this was blocking the majority of the heat, that it would be okay. So this is what I'm doing. We have a whole week starting this afternoon till Saturday. We're in the hundreds. So, well, I think today's our coldest day at like a high 97 to 99. So not quite 100, but it's already blazing. But look at the shade already. It's giving me so much shade. Peas are very, very heat tender. Like they cannot handle a lot of heat. So I thought because they were on this trellis, they were going to get scorched. And I could already see some heat damage on the bottom on that side. Not on this side too much, but on that side, just from these days we've had in the 90s, we've had a very cold, wet spring. And now with the first day of summer hit, we got hot for like 3 days and went back down to cold and rainy. And for like a week and a half now, we haven't got any rain. So we've been watering consistently. This is our first week of watering consistently, and it's the end of July, pushing the end of July. Like next week's August. So this is I'm very grateful for that we haven't had to water too much this summer, but still. And we've been mulching heavily. Most things, this bed isn't mulched, but everything else is pretty much mulched heavily. So these guys didn't make it on the trellis. My trellis wasn't long enough. I wanted to see how they would do without. I've seen some farmers that grow in mass production don't use trellises. So, and I see a lot of peas on this guy. Where'd they go? Now they're hiding. And this one has no shade. So this is just our completely experimental to see how these do. If they die, well, I guess we know we did what worked. So the one thing I'm concerned about, we do get some winds, is this shredding, but I clothespined it down pretty good. And if I need to come and clip it down or put some bricks or some rocks on the bottom of it to keep it from flapping to shred, I will. But typically the winds come in the evenings. So I'm hoping that this frost cover is a shade cover essentially and will protect these peas from the heat. We'll see how it goes. And it won't be on this video to see how it goes, but I'll check in. They seem to be getting, it's a little bit cooler on the other side of the shade, so I think it'll work. Another thing I've been doing, I've been thinning my mango beets, which are these huge beets that are used in the 1800s for animal fodder, for feeding animals. They store well through winter. They can get up to 40 pounds a beet, which is a bit astronomical, but I'm trying to just I'm trying to offset feed costs by growing our own. So what I did, these beds are freshly planted, which is why the sprinkler's going. And if you have freshly planted stuff and you're going into this heat, you need to water short waters for just a couple times a day, 3-4 times a day, maybe in this heat, and early. Do not do it I'm going to be doing it in the midday. Early and late in the evening is better. We run our irrigation off solar, so I kind of have to go around the sun. But fortunately, we live in the north and it stays lighter longer, so that is helpful. So these mango beets, I've been thinning them. Instead of completely just chucking them to the animals, I've been replanting them here. Now all their leaves are smashed onto the ground, and I totally expected that. And I'm hoping that they'll grow new growth. And hopefully, I'm gonna just experiment with this little crop, see if I can pull it through the heat of this week. And if they start, actually I'm already seeing it come back to life. And then I'm gonna thin out the rest of these so we get some bigger beets, because otherwise if you don't thin, you can like 4 or 5 in a clump will be okay. You're not gonna get those 40-pound beets, but you will. But if you thin them, you will. But I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to replant them, transplant them over there, see if it works. And then it'll be like started beets. Root crops are typically pretty difficult to transplant, but you never know. So you might as well give it a whirl. I want to show you this so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm turning off my water because it's been going for 15 minutes or so. This is what I was hoping for. So this is, again, these are one of those mango beets. And they had some their leaves were huge like those over there. Now they're dying on the ground. Oh yes, this is awesome. Okay, look. Okay, so dying, but look this is what I was hoping for. New growth. So we have some new growth here and all dead around. So what I'm going to do, probably not today, but I'm going to clip off. I need to get through here and clip off all these old ones to let the new ones come back. It's good new growth here. Good new growth there. This is working, guys. I see it there and there and there. Okay, not working on every single one, but it's working on way more than I thought it would, which is a major price report. Less food waste. This one's actually doing the best. But you see those new growths coming in down there? And all the old dried up leaves will just chuck. So this row is a bit of an experiment. I planted sunflower seeds that I saved. Now it's risky. We're in a short growing season, so we have about 50 days left till September. No, not even. So we might not get a harvest off these, but this is a massive experiment. If we do, never know. We've had some Indian summers where it just stays warm through September, and we'll easily be able to get a harvest off these. And I'm also saving those for animal feed. Here's the rest of those mango beets. This is what they looked like when I thinned them, transplanted them over there. Instantly they wilted. So not really worried about the carrots, but I am going to hit them with some water this morning and then again this evening just to cool them down. They're heavily mulched, so they should be more than fine to make it through this heat wave. This will probably do our garlic in, but that's okay. It'll be ready to harvest and put up. Okay. Well, there's a little update for you guys. That's just kind of what I'm doing, hoping to get through this heat wave. We're going to be starting fall seeds, guys. Let me get in the shade here. It's getting a little warm. My cows are out grazing, so if you see them out and about, that's what they're doing. Hey, Mama. She's gone. So I'm going to preface this to get it in the brains of my fellow Central Oregonian. We have our Coop and Garden Tour coming up. So if you can get, I'm the flyer girl, so I should know all this information, but you can get tickets for it at different places around town. I know one's the Florist, one's the Chamber of Commerce, Amerititle maybe, and there's one more I can't remember, but you can pick up ticket books. It's $10 a carload, so you can get for $10 for 3 days. You can go around and tour a lot of La Pines Gardens. We are on it this year. We are on it one day only, and it's Saturday the 6th. But what I want to get rolling in your brains is that we can still do a fall garden. I'm going to push this a lot this year in particular with all of the uncertainties of this world. I just want this to be well known that you can still start a garden right now. Like, do not wait till spring. Do it now. Like, cool of the evening, get some compost. Let's plant. Just plant as much food. You will notice that it was ironic that our sunflowers didn't do well this year because of the cold, and now they're starting to come up, and we might have a late harvest on those, our pro cuts, but food production is amazing. And food production is where we're putting really just want to stress that fall garden. Get it in. Get some food growing. Pump out the food production wherever you can. Put food in your flower beds. You already have them made. Do it. And so, but fall gardening is beautiful, especially in Central Oregon, and I think it is a lot of places. Well, one, you don't have the heat. Two, a lot of things we can grow in the heat outside during summer, we can grow those in the fall too. So you can extend it. I had food growing. I did a December garden tour last year, people. I had turnips still there. I had lettuces still in there. You can go back and it's like, there's still flowers growing. We had a mild, until about a week or two before Christmas, our fall was mild and we still had food growing in December outside in Central Oregon. I need to stress that enough to you. Now, that's not the case for all years. We can get cold in October, and I understand that, but you never know. You never know. And you can buy some of this frost cover. Our local hardware, Ace Hardware, has it. Obviously, with inflation, it's gone up, but you buy it in bulk in the back, by the back counter. It is the best deal that you can get, and it's the best quality. I bought the cheaper stuff off Amazon before. It disintegrates in our hot heat. It did last year, at least, in that crazy summer. I'm going to be starting a fall garden, and so when I'm talking about a fall garden, I'm going to go into more details in that video, but just to get your brain going, picking up some seeds. Our local hardware store still has really good seeds. Our local landscape place has seeds. Our Bi-Mart still has seeds. And these are cold weather crops, the same crops that you grow in the spring. When I started gardening, I did not know the difference between cold weather and warm weather crops. And here in Central Oregon, you can grow cold weather crops all year long. Some things you may have to protect, like I'm showing you what I'm doing, but some things you might not. And my peas might be fine for a week if I keep cooling them off, but you never know. So the cold weather things are carrots, lettuces, kales, beets, fava beans, broad beans, same thing. Peas, did I say cabbages, kohlrabi, turnips, rutabagas, leeks, onions. Those things take a little longer, but I know if you start them now, you could get a harvest in October, maybe early November. You don't know until you try. So don't be afraid to try to put things in the ground. I know this is a whole nother topic, but I was told so many times I couldn't grow anything here. You have to grow the right things, or I've been told you can't grow without a greenhouse. I personally, growing how I've grown, started without a greenhouse. Why do you need to spend the money on the greenhouse? Until you start really pumping out food production, you do not need a greenhouse. You can easily do it in ground and grow it good. We will talk about this more later on, guys, but I hope all of you in Central Oregon keeping those plants, and I think it's nationwide, this heat wave going through. It is crazy, and it's been worldwide. I know the UK last week had crazy high temps. Like I saw the airport tarmac melted, like they had to delay planes because the runway melted. Like that's insane. So we're all getting this. Fortunately for us, it's just now hitting us and we can handle it. And get a little protection out there for your plants if you need to. Be consistent with your watering and we'll get through it. All right, guys. Well, I will see you on my next video. Thanks for following along. Bye, guys.